the people.
Is it possible that we look at this through the lens of things that are supposed to be done anyway? That we stop ascribing these things which are constitutionally mandated to individuals because they sit in a position of authority or governance. That it doesn't take away from the fact that they are supposed to be done. The people of Murang'a should have running water. The people of Kisumu should have running water. The people of Mombasa should have running water. The person who comes into government is supposed to make sure these things happen. So you don't need a pat on the back. You don't need a glorification of that process to say, look at what they did under the plan. No. You are supposed to do it anyway, in the most financially prudent way that you can. So how can we stop this thing where it looks as though favors are being done? Because guess what? You know how the way it looks right now, and maybe you can dissuade us from this position, Javas, and maybe Senator, that how can we stop looking at these things as favors? We've had people over the last 6 months say to us, oh, you see now, because of this broad-based government or whatever it is, we now have housing in Homa Bay. No, it's your job. This is what you're supposed to do, that you're supposed to create an environment where these things can thrive. It is your job. If you fulfill your mandate, you're doing your job. When I come and do my job, nobody claps for me every day because I'm doing my job. You do your job. But how do we divorce this thing that you're supposed to be doing, especially since nobody asked you. You came and said, I am the man or the woman for the job. So when you do your job, are people supposed to be quiet when you're overspending? Because you know what? 89 billion shillings is the grand total that has been spent by State House, Office of the President, Office of the Deputy President, Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, State Department Parliamentary Affairs, State Department Cabinet Affairs between July 2022 and March 2026. 89 billion shillings. And we're still being told this will happen, you will have. So how do you divorce the politics from the job that you're supposed to do? You've spoken the truth. In fact, if a statue of truth were to be erected, it would be called Ndu. Hallelujah. And that time is not far from here. Let's face it. You have raised issues that are reported in the dailies about expenditure in the executive. It is important for us to appreciate that government succeeds by spending, but spending prudently. What we need to ask is, to what extent were those finances spent prudently in service and for the benefit of the people? Institutions run by way of being financed. The presidency is not a single unit. It's broad, it's humongous. So what we need to do is have an incisive look at the 89 billion and ask ourselves to what extent was there prudent use of those public funds. The other thing is this. If it's a question of financing projects or enabling public officers, for example, even Senator Nyuto here is enabled to move to serve the people, we cannot question that except if it is excessive. And that's why we need to look at. And that's why we've got other institutions, Office of the Control of Budget, Auditor General, etc. When they raise issues, then we go back as a people and ask ourselves, then how should we look at these streamline things for the better of the people? You ask also another question, that how can we reorganize our politics, our thinking, and our perspective such that when somebody is discharging his or her duties, they must not be praised for it. True. When you seek public office and you work by the guidelines that are there, it is your duty. Only to the extent that you satisfy that execution, the people should be happy. But there are people that have occupied public office and departed from the very guidelines of the mandate that is bestowed upon their laps by the law. Well, going contrary to public expectation, then people will frown upon it. So I think that's why I said we need to change our brand of politics. Let us get to be looking at issues in a manner that makes us move forward, depart from a politics that is only vitriolic. Look at even how politicians have been engaging in all these ping-pong games in the recent weeks.
talking about dystopic politics. Somebody saying, for example, and even his party leader, that we will not have a country here. I mean, we need to have leaders, whether government or opposition, who are talking about preserving the country and its future. Not talking about the necessity, urgency, or probability of them presiding over anarchy and the annihilation